they send some guy named Tex in to infiltrate. And Tex was the one who told the girls that Charles wanted somebody dead. At no time in any of their testimony, the police, the girls, anybody, Charles, nobody at any time ever said Charles Manson killed anybody. But now, when you look him up, they list him as one of the most vicious serial killers in history, right? And from listing him that way, they also declare him as insane, right? So now, then they label him as a racist. Now, he a serial killer, insane, racist. All the time, he ain't told nobody to kill nobody, but they blame it all on him because now they can use that as the pretext to take him off the street for not doing what the fuck they told him to do. Start the fucking race war. So Joseph Sinkyu get out and he starts snatching the same demographic of youth that Charles attracted to build his Symbionese Liberation Army. Right? Now, why did he choose them? Because he had to feel some kind of way like we was being used to fight somebody else's war. So why won't we use their kids to fight our war? But the philosophy of Symbionese is a symbiotic relationship, two things which rely on each other for both of them to survive. Right? It's called symbiosis. And in the process, if they can learn to survive together, it keeps both species alive. And he said that his interaction with so-called white America required him to establish a relationship with white America and to form a symbiotic relationship to survive off of them the way that they survive off of us. So he decided instead of using his people, he would use their people to fight the war. Right? So the whole time, they not formulating the army to facilitate the helter-skelter race war propaganda that they wanted Charles to push in the so-called white community. Now, you got to remember, time-wise, what else was going on in this time frame? We had the Weather Underground, who was making allegiances with the Black Liberation Army, who had absorbed the most militant Panthers who had defected after they realized how thoroughly infiltrated the government had infiltrated the Panthers. Once this took place, they turn around and now all of the influential characters in the community, they COINTELPRO activate surveillance and takedown. And when they say takedown, it's whatever it takes to neutralize your influence in the community. They full throttle COINTELPRO, do what's necessary, from the murder of David Barksdale to the murder of Angel Bay's right-hand man, Big Bull, to the murder of Mickey Caldwell, from the murder of Raymond Washington in L.A. The list is endless of the people that they have had murdered because there was no other way for them to remove them from the community or to reduce their influence by nefarious means. So when you can go to New York, it's the same thing there. Baltimore, it's the same thing there. Boston, it's the same thing there. In Newark, it's the same thing there. Miami, the same thing. New Orleans, Atlanta, right? Little Rock. All over the land, it's the same infestation, right? Yep. So we talked about J. Edgar Hoover cross-dressing, flippity floppity ass, passing for motherfucking something that he wasn't. So he was one of them who was loyal to the motherfuckers that they called JDL. These are motherfuckers who's executing all of these hits on like Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Donny Hathaway killed himself. Yeah, right. It's a song for you, motherfucker. So we sit here and we watching what they doing. And so Manson never gave an order for nobody to kill anybody. All he ever did was warn you about the nefarious plans that the government told him with one of their top agents, what they was going to do and what they needed him to do and why they needed him to do it. And so now we calling him a serial killer, but he ain't killed nobody. We calling him a racist for stopping a race war. And we calling him crazy because he said that before the black man was in your city, the black man was God. When he was in this native form, he called it the jungle. That's a gorilla knock to me. The Congo. The Congo is the jungle, and the Congo key is the gorilla key, and the gorilla key gonna forever reside with me. You need to bump straight, bro. I ain't really trying to kick it with you till you bump straight. I'm not sure about a man from the Congo split an atom in modern times, but it's always gonna fall back on the primate key. Right. So we looking at gold key, silver key, solar key, lunar key, going into the sun cycle, father right to rule, right? But the father right to rule has to be accompanied by the mother right to inherit, silver key. Yeah. I told you bump straight. I'll let you if you bump straight. Until you bump straight, and I ain't got no kicking this. You got to show me something productively positive in the betterment of the community for me to entertain your bullshit. Hey, look, the message from Big Mama was be you, feel that way. It's contagious if you don't worry about if somebody feel it. If you try to force it, then you block it from being contagious.
Mm.
So just be. Just be. Feel that shit. And when you be around people, it radiates.
Yeah.
All it is a mitochondrial link.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Mama turning up the highest, the first family now. And that's why y'all feeling that shit now. Starting to get giddy and happy and shit.
Yeah.
It ain't even turned all the way up yet.
Nope. And I just thought about something. Okay, this just got placed on me. My daughter does this, and she get it from me. It's the same thing. It's you said that too to this little girl one day on here. You know that light, your glow inside your star. Like I could do that all day, like, and that's why I want to tell the adults now. Like, don't y'all remember when you were little and you just get excited and just for no reason you be like, ee! That shit right there. Like I could do that shit out of nowhere. My daughter does that. All my children, and it's beautiful. That's how you tap in. Like whenever you feel that, and you know, like ain't shit going on, and you just feel it. Man, feel it, and
I'm gonna tell
do anything with that energy.
When you feel like you've been having like a bad couple of days in a row, stop everything you're doing and go find a pack of kids and read them a book, sing them a song or something. I guarantee you that energy by the time you get done will be transmuted to a higher energy frequency.
Yes.
The baby's gonna do it to you. When you give them from the heart and they give it back, you can't help it.
Yeah.
Lil Zoe gave me a thumbs up, almost caught the Holy Ghost.
That'd be beautiful. I love that shit, man. And that's why I be telling people they don't be understanding. I be like, man, I'm glad I had children. I had my first baby when I was 17. Like, if I didn't have children, my children saved a lot of lives. Like, they saved my life. Children saves lives.
I think my life would have been different if I would have went to prison with no children, because I'd have been a bitter motherfucker through the whole bit, and I probably wouldn't have been as cordial to get along with. But I had my children to look forward to spending time with when I came home.
Yeah. That's another reason why it was easy for me to quit my job.
Fuck a job.
My children started saying, like, Mommy, we barely see you. I broke down, started crying, like, fuck this post office, man. I don't give a fuck what happened. Like, I'm steady getting sick. Like, I was going against the grain, getting my ass kicked. And that was the final straw when they was like, Mommy, we don't see you. And I'm like, oh, hell no.
Hey, you know, all this time they've been teaching the children the hokey pokey, right? It's a conjure. It's a children's conjure. So, the hokey pokey, the steps of it is all telling the children to take part in the mass magic performance. That's why I put my arm in, put my arm out, right?
You shake it all about.
Yeah. When they're shaking it all about, they supposed to be visualizing pixie dust coming off their hands. Yeah. They activating magic. You teaching it to them, right? You don't know it's magic. It's children's magic.
Right.
And it's a couple more of the children. They started coming up with their own when the adults didn't know the hokey pokey was harnessing their magic. Remember when Superboy dropped Superman?
Yeah.
The children started using it for conjure. When the other one,
that makes sense.
it's them songs that little kids make for them to dance to. Any of those songs, listen, any song designed by children for other children to dance to, those are baby children magic practice. The adult that knows the conjure can unlock that energy in the children and turn that love energy up in them, using those things as the vehicle by which you turn that energy up, right? So in Detroit, we be having, like my man said earlier, we Jet City in this month, right? But when we in Chicago, we was stepping in the name of love. You
right.
know what I'm saying? That's what R. Kelly was singing. He still thought he was 8 years old. The dumbass nigga didn't know he was damn near 40.
Yeah.
He don't know. He just think he a kid making music.
Right.
Right? He Rain Man. So he still can tap that magic. It's hard it's hard when they have that kind of power to teach them how to grow up. And if they don't have a man around them to teach them how to grow up, they won't never grow up in certain areas, and it'll make them susceptible, like R. Kelly, to being fed children and not being able to know the difference in a 25-year-old and a 12-year-old. Socially retarded, right? But he's a musical genius. And so but that children's magic is in there. They got tired of the adults not using it. If you look at all of the children that used to follow those dance steps, they're not like the other children.
No.
They're children that'll go out and get a job. They'll work. They won't ask for a whole lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to use their personal power. Right? Whereas the children right in the generation before that shit, less likely to want to work. They less likely to want to use their personal power. You can see the transition that was taking place through the culture and the music. That's a beautiful thing to see.
It is.
Yeah. All right,
And
sweetie,
it's
I'm gonna let
funny.
you drop down. I'm gonna take another one in. I don't know how long I
Okay,
got.
I was just singing Miss Mary Mack the other day. That used to be my shit when I was little.
Oh yeah, Miss Mary Mac, dressed in black,
And
black,
black,
black.
black, black with silver buttons. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you later. Love you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
sweetie.
All right.
Deloria, Deloria.
Hello, Rod.
What's going on, sweetie? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. Where you chiming in from?
So I'm actually in Georgia right now, but I'm actually from Peoria, Illinois. So I don't know if you're familiar with that place,
I
that
know where
area.
Fiore at.
Okay, perfect. So actually, I'm chiming in, because I had a question. I had a dream that's kind of been like bothering me a little bit,
Mhm.
and I just kind of
When you
want to.
say bothering you, what do you mean? Like you can't get it off your mind, or making you feel spooky?
I can't understand it. I mean, I feel like I should be able to understand it, but I can't get it off my mind, and I'm trying to understand it.
Okay.
Um,
Now, when a
mhm.
dream stay on your mind, it's the difference in the dream that bother you and the
Okay.
dream that stay on your mind. The
Okay.
dream that bother you is a warning. The dream that stay on your mind, it's gonna stay on your mind because you're trying to figure out what the meaning of the dream is. So there's a
Exactly.
difference. That's why I asked the question.
Okay.
So tell
Yeah.
me the dream. Take it from the top. Tell me the dream, and let's see what we come up with.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So I'm on this ship, and I know it's in outer space because I'm working in a lab, and there's a window, and outside the window I can see the stars. I can see outer space. And so on this conveyor belt, I'm in like a lab. I have like a lab partner, and on this conveyor belt we have these clay molds of babies, and basically our job is to put the life inside of the baby. So when we do it, the babies instantly turn brown. Like that's the first sign of they're alive, and then we wait for
Okay,
them to.
you can stop
Uh
right there. That's not a dream. That's why it's bothering you. That
huh.
was actually happening in the development of the earth when the sisters decided um, that they would let earth be inhabitable. That's what y'all was doing when y'all was creating the human. And spiritually,
Oh.
you was going back to the spiritual nexus of the location where y'all was doing it because you was one of the doulas that was overseeing the project.
Okay. So, but here's the part that I don't understand. So you're right. That for some reason that part felt natural, but the part that's on my mind is that as we're doing this, I got another baby clay mold, and when I put the life into it, the color never changed. It stayed white, but the baby woke up and was alive. And I just remember thinking like we both kind of looked at each other like that's not right, but we let it go through because it was alive. But that's the part that's that
That's
I can't get.
actually that was the actual response when they created um, the artificial humans, the artificial souls they couldn't ascend. That's why they
Mhm.
didn't turn brown, and that's what made the wolves, all of the guardian wolf spirits of the earth converged in Europe. And this is how we discovered the anomaly because they was never supposed to go through that cycle where y'all
Yeah.
could see them. So after y'all seen a certain amount of them, y'all called the Queen of Heaven and Earth and explained to her that there's an anomaly going on, and y'all didn't have an answer for it because somebody's doing something on Earth. Y'all can
Oh, okay.
so you going back in the spirit realm where you
Mhm.
transfer souls into forms, into bodies.
Mhm.
And so once this was discovered, she called for the guardians, the earth guardians, because they was being reported that the earth guardians wasn't on their post, which is they wolf spirits, but they personify as giant fucking wolves when a crisis is taking place on earth. So
Okay.
this is why you have the story of Romulus and Remus suckling from the she wolf, right? They said
Mhm.
that Remus got murdered and Romulus became the founder of Rome, or maybe it's backwards, but
Mhm.
because I always get them mixed up. But anyway, so this is why that story is in the historical record. So when the in Kemet, we was doing cyclic repeat of the holy drama.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Queen of Heaven and Earth was stationed at that time in Egypt. So when they brought her, when they found the wolves, they was guarding the cave. And when they went in the cave, they discovered a bunch of malformed beings in there, but they didn't know they was malformed. They just didn't know what the fuck they was.
Right. Okay.
So
That
they
makes a lot
took
of
them
sense.
back to Egypt to present one to the Queen of Heaven and Earth. And when she seen it, she said, "What manner of beast is this?" And none of the scientists knew what the fuck they was looking at. And it's, birth defects,
Right.
right? But they were sentient, but they came to sin in that condition because the
Yeah.
soul can't expand to its proper development when the body that is being used to train the soul is malformed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we begin to see birth defects for the first time, and this is what told us what was being done on Mount Sinai,
Mm. Okay.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's more to it. I went through all that on the video series with Young Elder.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And,
So she ordered that the good got to punish with the bad because you can't throw people away like trash.
right. Right.
And you gonna be treated, the people you mistreat gonna be the same motherfuckers mistreat you.
Exactly.
And because you so high and mighty, somebody got to bring you down and show you that it's no matter how big and bad your ass is, Big Mama got a remedy for all you motherfuckers.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's how we end up in this condition to this day. This is the end of it. And that's why
My
my
God.
mama used to say, "I'm so glad trouble don't last always."
Mm-hmm.
We was in fucking trouble.
Yep.
We got in trouble with the Queen of Heaven and Earth because we let these motherfuckers come down here and do something they ain't got. So she whooped our ass.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting my ass whooped. Definitely.
It's ass whooping time over with. That's
Yeah.
over with now. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's time to celebrate the return of the Sweetwater.
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
I told you we about
For
to
this
have
stuff to
Mardi
come
Gras
off.
or every major city. Mardi Gras, Mardi Gras.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. They talking that doomsday shit. Fuck, that's just some scare tactics to slow your progress down. We about to have Mardi Gras from Maine
Yeah.
to Arizona, from Alaska to Florida, from motherfucking the Canadian North of Nova Scotia to the bottom of Argentina. We finna turn up on these motherfuckers.
Hey, so my next question, real quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. But my last name is Artist, Artis. I'm guessing that's a Canadian French name, more Canadian on the
That's a
more likely.
confession.
Oh, really?
You know, so somebody in your family established your last name because
Mm-hmm.
they was an artist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right now, what kind of artist depends on. You can look at your family and you can see what y'all have a penchant for doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You got singers in the family, or you got painters in the family, or instrument players in the family. But when you got the name artist as a
Mm-hmm.
clan name, they all got different art forms that could be associated with the clan.
Okay, because I got 13 brothers and sisters, and I'm probably the only one that is not an artist. Every one of them, they all have a specialty like a art, like you're saying. But I don't know. I just figured that it was more like a French. But okay,
How many
I
children you
that's
got?
I don't have any kids. I don't have none.
Because you might be this is the craziest shit, y'all women do this shit, but you might not want to express your artistic talents with the world right now. You might be saving it so that you can use it to develop the artistic talent in your child. As they see yours develop, they'll follow the suit. So you could
Mhm.
be just waiting to be a mother in order to turn that on.
That you might be right, 100%.
Hmm.
Might be right. Yeah.
Look
Okay.
here, watch my pen.
Mhm.
You see it?
You a doula, yeah. You know, I thought about that. I wanted to be a nurse. I actually like children, but I just don't have any. So I mean that makes a lot of sense. Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay.
Right, because that
A
came
lot.
up earlier in the conversation we having,
Mhm.
related to what you was doing in the spirit realm.
Mhm. Okay.
So it would make perfect sense that if you had a drive or the traction to be in
Mhm.
the doula, you would probably be one of the best ones, right?
Mm. Right.
So, like, I wanted to be a doctor, but when I caught my felony, I couldn't be an MD, so I turned into a witch doctor. It's the
Okay.
will, it's the way.
You're
That's what my
right.
mama told me.
100%.
I
You
told my
know.
mama, I said, Mama, I couldn't be a doctor and like my cousin Calvin because we supposed to went to med school together.
Mhm.
But I had C's and D's anyway. I had grandiose delusions at the time because I wasn't finna get in nobody's medical school with C's and D's. But that was our thing. We were both gonna be doctors.
Mhm. And you
So he
know.
went on to be an MD.
Mhm.
So I couldn't be an MD. So what the fuck? What kind of doctor can I be? And then I looked at my family line and I was like, shit, I'm gonna be a witch doctor.
But you know what? I when I first started going to school, I wanted to go to school for a nurse, but I just could not do the school. I just couldn't do the classes. It's just something that I just couldn't. I had to take all these other extra classes. It just didn't fit. And so I never completed school for that. But that was something that I, always wanted to be, was a nurse. But um yeah, that was.
So the way that we
Mhm.
teach in the doula center is not gonna be like the university.
Mhm.
As a doula, you got a wide breadth of knowledge you have to assimilate. But
Mhm.
when you first come in, we don't drop every fucking piece of information you need on you. You're not gonna realize until you get to a certain point that goddamn, I went through all that in that short period of time.
Mhm. Yep.
But doulas are taught hands on by doulas.
Exactly. And
Taught
that's how I
hands.
learned. Yep.
You start off, you might have to be the one that fold her towels and watch.
Mhm.
Go get the water while she doing whatever she doing. But she's instructing you and showing you the intricacies of being a doula,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
The birth maidens is what they used to be called in ancient times, using the English language as a translation, right? They
Okay.
was referred to as birth maidens, would be the English equivalent.
Mhm.
And most of their life, because you learn, the doula doesn't stop assisting the mother until the child go off to their rites of passage. So we talking in modern terms, not until they enrolled in real school, kindergarten and preschool, the doula still assessing the child.
Mhm.
When the doula finally give her final report, she's telling the mother, your child has a drive to do this, so you should put this in their path to make sure they learn so they can strive for their best life according to these parameters. They study the child. Childhood psychologists was doulas,
Mhm.
and they got so many things that they are responsible for, but because it's the way that it's taught and the way that it's assimilated, it doesn't seem like you doing nothing but being a good ass auntie that just know a lot of shit.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I got one more thing. Like the way you just said that. Okay, so when I first moved to Georgia, I stayed with my sister, and she had two little girls that were very young. And my sister was so mean. She would say some of the worst things, like, call them bitches, saying you're not gonna ever be nothing. I wish I would have aborted you. And so I'm hearing all these things with my own ears. And so, I'm trying to talk to them. I'm trying to talk, like that's not true, whatever she's saying. I'm really there for them. And it got so bad to a point where nothing that I would say, like it's just, I know that's their mom, but it was just like nothing that I would say or do will overwrite what she's done to them. And so I just kind of like gave up and moved out once they got a certain age. Once they got old enough, I moved out and moved on my own because I just felt like there was nothing else I could really do. Because nothing was sticking. Like I said, it's almost kind of like everything that she said, it just kind of overwrote any type of positivity that you would try to breathe into them.
You'd be
And
surprised. So the way that the children they might come off with the mother's imprint as a primary, But if you still giving them love, when it come
Mm-hmm.
time to trust somebody, they're gonna come to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They tell
Right.
me everything.
So the problem is your sister is the one need the help.
Yeah, I think she's beyond help. She's delusional at
No.
this point.
Mama said you don't give up on nobody till they gave up on themselves. And you
Okay.
don't know a person that haven't gave up on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They might just don't know how to get from under the stress.
That could be true.
She don't know how to cope with her stressors, so she takes it out on the children, the weaker people,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to teach her to be more self-confident, and she'll be less mean to the children.
Okay.
She got low self-esteem. All of the
Mm-hmm.
things that she's doing to her children, it's the same as the people that cut themselves,
Yep.
right? It's
Trying
not
for
that
her.
she don't love her children, because she'll fuck somebody up about them,
Mm-hmm.
but she don't understand that she's fucking them up
Yeah.
by the way that she's interacting with them. Later on, when she wake up to what she's done to them,
Yeah.
the
She's gonna be.
remorse, she might not be able to overcome the remorse.
I don't think so, cause I mean, it's horrible. I don't know. I never thought a mother could ever treat their daughters like that, especially girls. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah. But you know what? Thank you so much. That was all I had. I'll let you take another caller, but thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you said to me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for coming in, sweetie.
You're welcome. Okay.
Reciprocity of energy. So look, a lot of times, these mothers are not properly pair bonded. This is why doulas is so important. They're not properly pair bonded with the child, because instead of allowing the cycle of the oxytocin and endorphins to cycle through the child back through the umbilical cord, the psyche is told that the child is stillborn. And the mother is seeing the child and she's conflicted in her deep emotions and don't know what it is. So she becomes aggressively abusive to the child. But you fuck with that child, she'll fuck you up. But she doesn't understand that her pair bonding is off because she never had a doula before during pregnancy and in the formative years of adolescence where the child is developing a personality. So she don't know how to properly connect with the child, and it comes out as abuse. All of this stuff is going to be corrected and treated. Um, and the doulas is going to be more important than the psychs. Psychiatrists is only there to give you medications in order to numb whatever the psychological sensation that they call an abnormality, right? So they're not really there to heal you. The doulas is there to heal you. They don't want you to be miserable with your child. They want you to enjoy your child, and they want you to be properly pair bonded, because the mother that's properly pair bond with the child is a whole different person than the one that's traumatic, the trauma bonded to the child, right? Because it makes them take out negative emotions on the child because they are bonded through a trauma bond instead of a parental bond. And postpartum depression, as the sisters say right here, is a critical part or a critical symptom of improper pair bonding. The doulas know what to do. Every one of the sisters is watching. If you're pregnant, make sure that you have a doula or a certified midwife that that is familiar with child psychology, because they're gonna make sure that the mother is properly pair bond. They slap the child on the ass, trauma. The child cried, trauma to the mother. Then they cut the cord, double trauma. The baby, the placenta told the mother that there's been an obstruction and the baby is dead. But the mother looking at the child, her eyes are saying, I see the baby right there. But if they don't slap the baby, he has no trauma. Clear the airway, and then you post the baby on the mother's teeth. The baby's supposed to suckle until the placenta releases naturally, at which time the placenta is then either harvested, or some people leave the placenta on until it fall off. But it depends on the doula which the doulas come in tribes too, right? So we got doulas that teach from a different learning style than a different doula, but they all have one thing in common. They want the mother properly pair bonded with the child so that the child can have proper mothering as it grows, because it changes the way the adults are made and it changes the way that the adults behave. If we don't get a hold on this shit soon, we're going to be producing more derelicts. We don't want that shit. They was doing that shit to be fodder for their prisons and their work camps. So I'm going to take another sister, but that's an important issue that and the women need to be aware of.
Hey, peace, peace. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, sweetie? Tell them where you chiming in from.
From Arizona.
Arizona, goddammit, all in the desert.
Yes. Yes, I was actually tapping in because my brother and I, we went camping Friday and we just came back today. But yesterday when we were out there, it was weird because like when we were sleeping in our tent and I was laying down, I kept hearing like this humming noise. And it just kept going for like the longest. And then like when I turned my head, then it stopped. And then it just kept going. And then like an hour later, I heard like, it almost sounded like females in a hyena scream. And it was like, sounded like 8 to 9. And it was like all together. And then it was like that for like 30 minutes and then it stopped.
Mm-hmm. It sounded like it was either jackals or foxes. They make those sounds. Sound like hyenas.
Because I'm thinking like, I was telling my brother, I was like, man, this whole life has been so powerful. Like even this one that you went on this morning, but the previous caller that was on here, she was mentioning about like nursing and you mentioned about psychology. And I was telling my brother, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because like right when I got out of high school, I went to school for psychology and I couldn't understand. I didn't like the reading. So I just stopped doing psychology. And then I went to school and got licensed in massage therapy. And then I started to go to school for nursing. And then when they made it, it's going to stop nursing. But it's like always had a thing to be with children. I love being around children. And I was telling my brother, like if I went through the nursing program, I wanted to be in the ward that was like with children and mothers.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things, there's going to be a lot of like women who couldn't have children, right? There's going to be a lot of them that's going to volunteer for some of these children taken with special needs, taken from tunnels, right? Some of them, their eyes got fucked up from being kept in the dark their whole life, 8-10 years. You know, some of them have issues with their entrails from being abused, all kind of psychological issues from being abused. And the only thing that's going to overcome all that abuse is a whole lot of love.
That's crazy. It's crazy you said that because I actually had gotten a procedure done in 2016 and I had to get my tubes removed and then they told me I wasn't able to have kids naturally. I can only have kids
intravenous test tubes.
Correct. But
in vitro fertilization.
Yes, correct. They said the same thing to my mom too, and they said that she wasn't able to have kids, but she was able to have 2. So, but during that process, like after learning that news, like it took me a couple years to understand that, and I was depressed through that time because it's like that's something that I've always wanted to have, you know, to have kids naturally, and it's like I'm still trying to understand the process and all that, like saying that I'm able to have kids because I still feel like I'm still able to have kids because my mom was able to, but I don't know. It's just like kind of iffy. I don't know.
Your mother had the same surgery you had?
No, she didn't.
So your surgery is the issue, right? If they took your fallopian tubes. So in vitro fertilization will harvest your egg and match it with the sperm and put it in like you know, that's how they do in vitro fertilization.
Right.
Right. And in that case, you might be extremely fertile. Right. A lot of times they put more than one fertilized egg in, and you have a multiple birth. Right. So that's something to think about. But I will wait till after the medical system is revamped, because a lot of the things that they was doing is unconscionable to tell the people.
Right.
right? Like, it's a good chance that they didn't need to take your fallopian tubes. One of the things every woman need to know this: if your pH balance in your vagina is alkaline, none of the stuff, cancer can't live there, venereal disease can't live there, can't function in an alkaline environment, right? And you normally know when it's acidic because it has a scent that comes with it that the woman doesn't like herself.
Right.
Right. So this is why it's important to keep the yoni balanced, chemically balanced by periodically they got yoni priestesses that teach vaginal health on a deeper level. Right.
I remember you guys were talking about that in the live. I can't remember her name, but I started following her on your IG page. She was talking about it, the yoni and stuff. And this actually yesterday or Saturday, I did some grounding when I was in the field. And when I got done grounding, I was telling my brother, I was like, man, my feet felt so much lighter, like getting done, like grounding, even though it was like 10 minutes, but my body felt different doing it afterwards.
Yeah. Because people be amazed that right now we are more sensitive to the energy in our bodies because the frequency is changing, and it's more noticeable to us now than it would have been, say, in the 80s. Right. The ones in the 80s, you had to be an extreme tree hugger in order to be able to tap that energy. Now you don't have to be. You just have to be aware of Mother Earth's connection to you and then ground yourself to her, and it automatically starts to aid in healing.
Oh, and then another thing I found out. So when I was in massage school, we read this book about Chinese medicine, and it dealt with like the archetypes, like the earth, fire, water. And I learned that I was the earth type, but I'm not sure how to go upon with that.
When's your birthday?
April 28th, 93.
What's your zodiac sign? April. That's Aries.
Taurus.
Taurus.
Yes.
So they send you an earthbender, basically. The earth sign are more stubborn, harder to handle, more determined. When they set their mind to something, it's harder to stop them. Right? Fixed energy. Taurus is notoriously stubborn, but notoriously stubborn with one of the best hearts you want to see. They give you their last, right? If you don't ask them for it. If you ask them for it, they might think you up to something. They don't give you shit. But if you don't ask them for it, they'll see what you need and they'll give it to you on their own, and then they'll feel the satisfaction that they want to know they're doing good. Yeah. So to try to make a Taurus do something, you're gonna make them not do it. The harder you try to make them do it, the less likely they is to do it. But if you ask them nicely and say please, then get out their way so they can get the job done.
That's so crazy you said that, because I feel like that's how I am with my job. So like I work on a military base. I was in the Army, but I got out last year, but I worked there full time. And like I was telling my brother, I felt like they got so used to me when I was in the Army, like them ordering me to do something, like, yes, I'll do it. But now that I work on a state side, I'm just like, if that's not my job and you guys don't pay me to do it, I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy that you said that.
All day long. You ain't pay me to do that. That ain't on my job description.
That's me every day. Every time my boss asks me to do something, I'm just like, he's not doing nothing. Why ain't you doing it yourself? Like, but I just want to appreciate you, Uncle Rod. I just wanted to talk to you for a little bit, but I'll let you go so you can take another caller.
Okay, sweetie. Thanks for chiming in.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
How you doing?
Good. How's it going?
It's pretty good. Tell the people where you calling from.
I'm calling from Missouri, but I'm from Indiana.
Okay, well, I'm gonna show you with the bullseye.
Okay.
No, Indiana is was the Hoosiers.
Hoosiers. So, how's everybody doing? Hi, Uncle. How are you?
I'm good, sweetie. What's on your mind? I like your
Okay.
dreads.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm calling in because I went through a transition. A lot of people have. But when I went through the transition, I went through a couple of things. So I was high one day,
Me too.
and I was coming, I was coming down, and I was laying in the bed, and all of a sudden, like I like seen this. I call it a static man because it was shaped like a man, and it was
That's
right
called the
above.
crooked man. That's Tookie.
It was right above my head, and it was like I felt the wind. It was like being under a helicopter, really hard winds, and I was like, "What the?" I thought
When's your
I
birthday?
was June 6th, the most beautiful day of the year.
Goddamn Gemini shit there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so finish what you're saying.
So it was like black and gold. And it was when I looked up, I was actually looking up and it was like there. And I was like, am I fucking losing it? And yeah, it was like staticky. It was black and gold. And I thought it was a portal. I didn't know what the fuck it was, but it had winds and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like holding on to the bed. It was real though.
Did you ever
So,
see that TV show Raising Dion when he called the Lightning Man?
yeah.
Yeah, that's Tookie.
Oh
That's
wow.
what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple.
Purple. They
I
do
love
got some,
teal too.
they got a crib set that wear a blue that's almost looks purple, but it's blue. Yeah, so ooh, that's a powerful set. Anyway, the Crooked Man is the personification of Big Tookie energy in the atmosphere. And they call it the Crooked Man or the Walking Lightning. When he come to you like that, he came to you with Big Mama colors. That's not his colors. Black and gold, not his colors. That's Big Mama colors. Right? That means that he's coming to you from Big Mama house.
Wow. I was in my grandma's house too. So that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's he was coming to you from Big Mama house. You a high priestess. You're a high priestess of Skywalker.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Big Mama sent him. Like that's when I had my awakening too. It was in 2013, right at the beginning. My dad had just passed away, and all these phenomenons were happening in that house, in the bedroom. Like I unlocked myself in that bedroom. Like I was able to see myself out. So many things. And so when that happened, I was like, what in the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm. So when you get a knock from a high chief like that, it's because you got a high position or high rank in the tribe, right? So when Tookie coming from Big Mama house, you got to be a priestess. If he was a daddy's girl, he would have came to you in this blue. If he was a mama's girl, he came to you. So the lizard is symbolic of the four-legged ascension or 3D, whereas the snake is the symbol for the spiritual ascension, which you don't need arms and legs for, right? The ladybug symbolizes love. Bears is controlled by the matriarchy, so bears are the matriarchs on the land. The bear clans on this land is the same as the gorilla clans on the motherland, right? So it's the same great apex animals. The red-tailed hawk, all of the hawks are spirit messengers. When you see any hawk, eagle, birds of prey, condors, and vultures, the vultures symbolize fearlessness, and all of the birds, they symbolize different things. The red-tailed hawk ties into the red-tailed bombers of World War I, and the armadillo is resilience and the ability to withstand heavy punishment by curling up in a ball, which is also ties back into a Scorpio knot. The wasp is the lone crusader who oftentimes is known for striking out on their own, and they don't always set up in a colony and form what you call a hive. Y'all got me going. The dog mean that you normally, those who have the dog as they familiar are the ones who walked alone the most in life. The snail is representing pretty much what the turtle. He can go into his shell and he can carry his house on his back. That means that all I need is on my back. That's the symbolism of the snail, right? The lion is the symbol of pride, controls the heart center, and it's going to take a Leo to reach a Scorpio at the highest levels, because the Leo is fixed position fire energy, a torch, and the Scorpio is fixed position water energy, a block of ice, and you need a torch to melt a block of ice, right? So the woodpecker is a knocker. When you see woodpeckers, you always hear them knocking. You won't even know they're there if they ain't knocking, right? So that's the symbol of a master knock. What is he knocking for? To get the parasites out the wood, right? The dolphins are flippers. That means they flip codes and signs through the sounds that they emit. The electric blue sign is the crooked man. That's Big Tookie. Already did sharks. Dragonflies. The dragonfly is the symbol for a spirit messenger in miniature form. Basically, it's saying it's a baby master being born. The dragonfly is his totem. The beaver represents the family building up of the family, right? So when you go over the beaver, you watch what he do. He dams up the water in order to build a whole pond. That's a whole community. He creates ecosystems. So he represents the grand architect. Let me see. Right. So the praying mantis is the insect equivalent of a priest. Right. So he's the priest of the insect kingdom. Right. The ram represents the father at the top of the mountain, the great goat, the greatest of all time. Right. So this is what the great goat, the ram, which is Ra, which is represented by the sun disk on the head of the gods, which actually represents your crown chakra in its full illumination. The butterfly represents transition and messages. We send messages through butterflies. Cat's as familiars mean that you need somebody to watch your spiritual. If you can watch and read the cat, you can read Oracle real well, because the cat is a teacher. Let me see what else. Right. So the muskrat, contrary to what he might really smell like, so they use muskrat glands to make perfumes. So the muskrat is a rodent that's sacred to the Sweetwater, right? So it's a totem animal for the priestesses of Oshun. This is why they use his anal glands to make perfume. The moth is a night butterfly, carry messages by night. I did the spider, did the lion, I did the snake, did the deer, did the ladybug, did the owl, right? So the rhino is the one who comes to move the obstacle. He takes on the heavy lifting, right? And he got 2 points that he's always emphasizing. He don't have to see far is his first point. That's why he's what you call nearsighted. And his second point is, with the mass and weight that I carry with me, your ass will be moved whether you want to be or not. The chicken is symbolic of a group of young females. That's why they call them chicken heads. They also call them pigeons. But the group has to learn from the old crow or the old crone. So all of that stuff is related. So what we going through now is totem flipping, right? The hummingbirds is rapid incoming messages and desire for the sweets. The sweets is the honey, the nectar. Real life after sports. What link you trying to get? The unicorn represents something that's rare, magical, and very difficult to find. So that's what the meaning of the unicorn is. Magical motherfuckers, right? I know a unicorn. The crocodile, tough skin, can take the punishment, but he can also chop your ass up. The crocodile oil is the symbol used for the sacred secretion in the rituals of baptism. They use crocodile oil in areas where crocodiles are, but in other places they use alligator oil. Where none of those are present, they use olive oil. And if they don't have access to olive oil, it has to be a gold-colored oil for the ceremonial purpose. That's it's a facsimile of the crocodile oil. So when you hear them talking about being anointed, being KRST Christ, this is what they're talking about. If you wasn't anointed with the crocodile or the alligator oil by Big Mama, you faking the funk. But in this era, she also used olive oil to do the same. Right. The mosquito is been around a long time, a lot longer than you think. The modern mosquito has been genetically modified because the real mosquito, that motherfucker used to be about 6 inches long and his motherfucking proboscis was longer than him. And when they bit your ass, you knew you was bit. I did roaches, I did snails. If you was on the back of the elephant in the ocean, that's the great mother carrying you through a spiritual journey. I did crows and ravens, dragons. Dragon mean master. The eel mean the same as the snake, but it's also associated with the projective energy, like the moray eel or electric eel, as we like to call it. Real life after sports. Your grandmama picked you to be the great one. Dinosaurs we read because there's none present other than alligators, turtles, and crocodiles. We have to read them as a tarot card. Anything that doesn't physically exist in this reality, in this time frame, we read it as an energy signature coming from the past. Even if it's made up, we can still read the energy signature once we understand how it's described to us. So some people don't believe dinosaurs even existed. The water buffalo is the great beast of burden, also represents the matriarchy because the males put the circle around the females and children, but the lead female tell them when to attack. That's why they don't attack often, because they only attack when it's necessary, because they don't have to lose nobody. Unlike a male-dominated species will just attack and get everybody fucked up for no reason, like humans be doing. The dung beetle is called that because he rolls the dung into the hole and he uses it to feed the youth. But the Egyptians said that the dung beetle or scarab beetle rolled the disc known as Ra, or the sun disc, across the sky during the daylight hours. So the dung beetle became known as the one that rolls you through your ascension process and raises you up from I forgot the 3 phases from, I think it's Amun, Kefra, Aten, Amun, from the 3 phases. So there's also representative of the 3 sisters in the daytime. There's no resurrection without the dung beetle symbolism in the resurrection ceremony. Yep. Big Mama, them bingo games and stuff, we be laughing. They be doing whole conjures and playing bingo. Right. Yeah, well, you still got giant. Shaq a fucking giant. If you keep finding black and white feathers in equal proportion, that means that you're finding your balance. The feathers are always messages from our ancestors. Yeah, we do a lot of rituals on accident because we don't consciously remember. Pretty Chin, what you want me to speak on preparation of? My man said my wife reminds me of a beast I seen in my dream. I would need to know the details of the dream to tell you what that mean, Yashan. Whew, I got a whole lot of questions today. If your bloodline was Reynolds from Virginia, they stole y'all plantations and turned them into tobacco companies. They named the J.R. Reynolds Tobacco Company after the Reynolds family, whose birthright and farming rights they overran. They took their shit. But y'all gonna get it back because we know who did it and we know where it's at. I don't know if it's gonna be casinos on the flip, because that's just the artificial means to keep people into a gambling addiction so that they're always gambling on their life, taking chances that's unnecessary. So I don't know if that's gonna even be around. She said she found a split fish head in her freezer and she lived alone and she don't split fish head. That is definitely